So do you learn ideas, tips, strategies on a regular basis and you get all excited about it and you find out that within a day or two or three, you just totally forgot anything about what you learned? Well, welcome to the club. I think many of us deal with this same struggle, this challenge from time to time to various degrees. But think about it. What's the point of spending all this time watching videos, reading books, reading articles, consuming all these ideas, tips, and strategies if we're not going to find a way to put them into action? I'm all about taking knowledge and putting it into action, because without action, that knowledge really doesn't do us any good whatsoever, does it? So what I want to share with you today is a simple system that will enable you to capture all that great stuff that you're consuming into one central place so that you're building a knowledge base. And over time, this knowledge base is going to enable you to work smarter, faster, and more effectively. And I call this process the genius mechanism. So let me explain to you the steps for creating a genius mechanism. You can have multiple genius mechanisms, but I'm going to show you how to create them and then why they are so powerful and why you want to start using this as you collect and consume different knowledge and information. So the first step in creating a genius mechanism or a set of genius mechanisms is to create several blank documents. These could be paper documents or digital documents. I prefer digital, and I'm going to explain to you why here in just a second, but just create a series of blank documents. And at the top of each document, you want to put a header. And that header contains the basic idea of the knowledge that you want to capture in that genius mechanism. For example, here's a rough example of a genius mechanism based on productivity. So you would take that blank document, put productivity at the top, or if you have another one that you want to capture information and knowledge about marketing or creating videos or organizing or eating healthy, you can have multiple genius mechanisms, but keep them focused on a particular idea. In this case, productivity. So once you've put this header on the top of each of your genius mechanisms based on the kind of things you like to learn and like you want to consume, as you discover new ideas, as you read them, as you underline them, as you watch them in a video, hear them in a workshop, whatever it may be for you, you want to take that idea and think, where would this idea, which genius mechanism do I have where this idea would fit into? Is it my productivity genius mechanism? Is it related to productivity? Is it related to communication? Is it related to creating videos? And then take that idea, as opposed to just bookmarking it, underlining it, where you're going to forget it eventually. You want to go to your genius mechanism and start a new bullet point and capture the essence of that idea in your genius mechanism related to that topic. So it has to be very, very simple. You don't want each bullet point to be very complex, but each bullet point is a different idea or strategy that you have learned. But you don't want it to be a book. You're not trying to capture paragraphs and multiple sentences of ideas, but you want to just capture it simply in your own words. So very important, as you'll see here in just a second. And you'll find that as you do this, as you capture it simply, you might think, oh, I'm going to forget aspects of it, and I need to capture this part of it and that part of it. No, you don't. Just keep it simple. Your brain will fill in the blanks as you review it later, as we'll talk about here. So what you can also do to keep it memorable, each bullet point memorable, in addition to capturing the idea itself, is if there's a little drawing or an example that you can add to it, you can write that next to it or add a little image to it if that makes it helpful to remember. But another thing that you can do when you're capturing each bullet point, and you'll find that I do this in my videos regularly, is describe the idea in a what, why, and how format. What is it? Why does it matter? And how do you use it? That is the basics. If you do that with an idea, you're going to have 95% of the essence of the idea. But again, keep it simple. Now, once you have started collecting different ideas for your genius mechanism, what you want to do is occasionally review your genius mechanism. Just open it up, look at it, go through the different ideas, and this is why it's so important to keep it simple, because you don't want to spend a lot of time going through each idea trying to remember what it says. But if you keep it simple, it'll be easier to consume. Or if you have a genius mechanism based on a type of activity that you do. For example, let's say you create videos and you have a genius mechanism about creating videos. Before you create those videos, go to your genius mechanism, look at the different ideas that you have captured about doing that specific task so you can do it faster, smarter, and more effectively. So that is the power and the basic process of creating a genius mechanism, where you're consuming all these different types of data and all these types of knowledge, put it in your brain, and then capturing it into a single document. So why is this such a great idea, and why is it so effective? Well, one of the reasons why is because you are collecting all this knowledge into a central place. You're putting it into a single document related to that type of knowledge, productivity, eating healthy, whatever. And I like to think of this similar to the idea of putting together a puzzle. You know, if you put together a puzzle, you have all these different pieces to this puzzle, and really to make sense of the puzzle, you have to have all the pieces pretty much in a similar location, kind of locked together. And imagine trying to put that puzzle together and make sense of what it is if all the pieces are in different places all around your house. But that's what we sometimes try to do with knowledge. We've got it in a bookmark over here. We pinned it over here. We've captured it over here somewhere in a book. It's in a notepad over here. It's on a Post-it note over there. That really doesn't help you to understand the knowledge as a whole. You want to capture it in a central location, which is what this idea helps you to do. Now, another great aspect to doing this and putting together individual genius mechanisms is that each time you capture a new idea, again, it's not just floating around out there somewhere in some random place. You are going back to your central storehouse of knowledge related to that idea. And you are seeing all the previous ideas and tips and strategies that you've collected in the past when you add that new one. And what that does, and again, the reason why you want to keep it simple, is that it reminds you of all those other previous ideas. And that just reinforces that knowledge that you have been collecting. You see it again, you think, I got to use that. You see it again, you think, okay, I'm going to implement that. So it's reinforcing that previous knowledge. Now, another aspect to this, and this goes along with the jigsaw idea that I was just talking about, is as you're collecting different ideas, you're going to start seeing connections between the individual ideas, seeing the whole picture. That is when it gets really powerful. And that's when knowledge becomes almost intuitive, and you start using it naturally without much effort because you understand it at a very deep level. And a genius mechanism will help you to do that. And one bonus idea I think you'll like is that as you collect different ideas, what you're doing is you're putting together your own little personal guide, if you will. And guess what? If you are finding value in your own little guide like this, if you collect productivity ideas and tips, then there's probably somebody else out there that would find value and benefit from that same guide that you put together for yourself. So you can make it available to others, you could sell it to others, so you can do all kinds of things with these different genius mechanisms that you create. So give it a try. Try it out, see if it doesn't work for yourself. Use it in one way. Pick one area of your life and start your own genius mechanism and see if it doesn't transform how you learn, how you consume knowledge, and how you use it. That's the important thing, how you use it. I hope you found this idea useful. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you'd like and share it, and maybe put in the comments down below how you're benefiting from this particular idea, okay? So I hope that you have an amazing day.